Here we are at David Parsons' house. A nice Sunday afternoon, enjoying his beautiful property, great hospitality. He's one of the old geezers. And that's his car, see? Now you know he's an old geezer because that's what he drives. Actually, he did drive that today. Beautiful, pristine little 1931 Ford Coupe. Just in perfect condition. We've been sitting out here all afternoon, drinking wine and smoking cigars and having a great conversation. And we're going to get ready to answer Father Time's question that he posed to Sharon about change. Before we do that, we'll take a little walk over here and say hello to all of our friends. There they are. Now you can say cheers.
You have the camera turned on.
Camera's turned on now, yes. Cheers. Cheers. These are my geezer friends.
Uncle McGinnis.
What was that?
Uncle McGinnis, which means hello. Nice to meet you.
Okay, whatever you say.
Or здравствуйте, как вы поживаете.
Where did the women go? Oh, there they are. Oh, okay. So here we are. I promised you a week or so ago that if you ask a question, that we'd get Sharon to try to respond to that question and give you some of her advice and wisdom from her studies. And we did get a question from Father Time, one of our fellow motovloggers. And he asked a pretty good question. He said, can you give me some pointers on how to deal with the change that life throws at us? Relationships, job, health, and all those things that we have challenges with. So Sharon agreed to answer that question, and here she is.
Okay, so Father Time, you started us with a huge question about change and what change means and how we can handle change. And I thought about this because there's so many things that can be said about change, and some of it's really cliched, like everybody says that change is inevitable and that's the only thing that's certain in the universe, and knowing that doesn't necessarily make it any easier when we're faced with change, like you mentioned, in terms of health or jobs or loss. And it reminded me when I first started my search for answers many years ago, a lady I went to see gave me a book called Necessary Losses: What We Need to Give Up in Order to Grow. And when you asked the question about change, it made me think, well, actually, change can be scary for us because often it means that we're going to lose something. As we age, we lose beauty, for example, or one kind of beauty, but maybe we gain another kind of beauty. If we lose a job, for example, if our worth was linked to that job, which for so many people, we're praised so much for what we do for other people and for the things that we achieve, we get so much praise from that when something happens where we lose a job, or maybe we retire, or women give up work to have a child, something like that, it's scary because our sense of ourself suddenly goes missing. And that, I think, is really what change is about, that it rattles our ego self, and everything that we have hinged our personality on, and our safety maybe, and our security and our sense of who we are, get shattered, and that is really scary. So all the things that you mentioned, Father Time, about positive thinking, that kind of thing, can be enormously helpful in navigating through change. But when I was considering your question, what really came to me was that what is going on here is something entirely different? What if change is maybe the soul's way of us actually coming to a greater and truer expression of who we really are? So, for example, our world is shaken by a change in our health or as we've spoken about, our jobs, or whatever that is, a relationship or somebody dying. If this was an adventure, this time on planet Earth, in love and loving, what if those events suddenly made us realise, how could I be more loving to myself? Or maybe this event is shaking me to my core because it triggers some really central childhood trigger that has never been addressed, has never been healed. And this is an opportunity for you to heal that, which can be really, really tough. So when I thought about a lot of the change that's happened in my life, my father passed away 14 years ago very suddenly, went to play golf and dropped dead. Huge trauma, but massive opportunity to embrace that other side of myself. And I got in touch with a spiritual side of myself that I hadn't known. In that trauma, my personality broke down to a certain extent, and I was faced with, or gifted really, some grace. And when I was thinking about your question, Father Time, what I thought was the key thing for me, and maybe for you all, if there's anyone listening out there, is that when we're isolated and we go through change, as often we did when we were children, we had to cope with things by ourselves. It's traumatic. But if in that change you have people that you can reach out to, it makes all the difference in the world. And often the ego wants us to be isolated because we're embarrassed that we're not well, or we're embarrassed that we've lost a job, or that a relationship's come to an end, or that we're grieving, and we hide that. And it's in that isolation that change becomes so difficult. So I wondered about if in this life we're here to love and be loved, and the universe wants us to become a greater, fuller, more expanded version of ourselves. Maybe these changes are that. A soul kind of calling to us saying, you could be more than this, you could experience more than this, you could create more than this, you could be connected more than this, you could love more than this, you could love yourself more than this. That would be a whole other way of looking at it. And from the ego perspective, that is not easy. But if we can reach out, and even if you're by yourself and you're isolated, there's ways now through the internet we can connect with one another, and there's lots of teachers, and it's how to be brave enough to reach out to other people. And sometimes people can't hear you because they're in their own pain, but if you keep reaching out, you will find somebody who can hear you, can honour you, can share the journey with you, and can help you to be loved and loving. And that has been my experience of change. That do it by yourself and it's tough. Be brave and reach out, and it can be a different experience, but that takes risk. Because some people are going to betray you, some people are going to reject you. But I think for us to evolve and be all that we want to be, and really experience our true nature, then change is the catalyst for that. So that's my thoughts on change.